Flexbox, also known as the CSS display flex property, is a gift from the heavens that helps us monkey-brained humans create amazing and responsive website layouts. The term Flexbox means flexible boxes, and it allows us to turn any HTML container tag into a box with flexible dimensions, where the contents of the box is oriented either as a column or a row. Given that we can have nested levels of containers, rows within columns within rows themselves, Flexbox allows us to incredibly easily lay out contents on our page and create designs such as these. To get started using Flexbox, we need a container element and some children elements. Here I have prepared some items with some base styles. We have a parent container, which will be our parent Flexbox, and some children elements that each contain some text. The container element is going to be our flexible box, and we can do this inside of our CSS file. If we scroll to the bottom of our baseline styles, we can select the container class and set the display property equal to flex. We see that the immediate effect of this is that our children elements are aligned in the row orientation, which is the default orientation for the direct children elements of the Flex container. So we've established that the default orientation of the children contained within a Flexbox is row. But what if we wanted a column orientation? We can use the Flex direction property and assign the column value to that property. The effect of this is that our children elements are now oriented in the vertical direction, as the main axis for our Flexbox has been changed to column. If the column is the main axis, the row is now referred to as the cross axis, and we could change the primary flex orientation back to being a row by assigning the row value to the flex direction. As you might expect, our boxes then jump back into the row orientation, and just as equally, we could comment out this line, as this is also the default orientation. The flex direction property is super powerful, as most websites are just unique combinations of rows and columns nested within one another. Now, what if we wanted to fiddle with the alignment of the children items on the main axis, which by default is row? We can do this using the justify content style. There are numerous values we can assign to this style to adjust how the children elements are aligned or justified along the main axis. For example, the flex end value aligns all the values to the end of the main axis. The flex start value sends them back to the start. The center value places all the elements centrally. The space around value creates an even space around all the items along the main axis, and the space between value creates an even spacing between all the children in the row. Keep in mind that the justification of elements is for the main axis alignment, which for a flex direction of row is the horizontal direction, and for a flex direction of column, where the main axis is the vertical axis, then the children elements are justified across the vertical axis. In the same way that we can use the justify content style to align our children elements along the main axis, the align items property allows us to align our items in the cross axis. We can set the align items property equal to flex start to align the items at the start of the cross axis, flex end to align them at the end of the cross axis, center to center the children in the cross axis, and stretch to stretch them across the entire cross axis. So in summary, justify content aligns the items on the main axis, align items aligns the contents on the cross axis, and we can vary which axis is which by using the flex direction property. A cool trick you can use to help you visualize this is to use the asterisk selector to target every single HTML element and apply a border to them. Then we can see all of our flex boxes, whether or not they're columns or rows, and also see how the children elements are aligned within them along each axis. Also worth noting is that the children elements in this example could also be flex boxes themselves for their own children elements. So we can have loads and loads of nested flex boxes until we have a complete website layout. Now, what happens when we have a row of items and some of the children elements are so large that they start to push others off the edge of the page outside the bounds of our flex boxes? Fortunately, with flex boxes, we can use the flex wrap property, which by default has a value of no wrap. But if we adjust it to now have a value of wrap, any elements that were inclined to overflow or not fit in the row will now be bumped down to comfortably fit on a secondary row. And to make our flex boxes look even prettier, even when they're spaced across numerous rows, we can use the gap property. We can apply a space value to the gap to spread the elements out by that amount, similar to how we could assign a padding or margin value. We can also specify different gap values to be used in the horizontal and vertical directions by specifying two values, where the first value is the vertical gap and the second is the horizontal gap. Sometimes we want certain children elements to be greedier with their space occupation than others. For this, we use the flex grow property, which tells a child what proportion of the flex box they're allowed to take up with respect to the other children. The default value is 0, so every child element is allocated the same proportion of space. As we give some elements a larger flex grow value, they then occupy more space in proportion to their flex grow value with respect to the others. So if I give one child here a flex grow of 1, 1 is infinitely bigger than the 0 value of the rest, so it will occupy all available space. If we give them all a value of 1, then the space is allocated evenly amongst them. And even if I give one child a flex grow value of 2, then it will occupy twice as much space as the elements with a flex grow of only 1. Flex shrink is similar, where we set a numeric value depending on how we want the elements to shrink in relation to one another when the space is scarce and our children are starved of space in the space famine. And the last of the flex trio is the flex basis, which sets the starting flex conditions for a child element. If we set a flex basis of 200 pixels, that is how it'll start out, and then the element will adjust from there according to the flex shrink and flex grow properties. Assigning all the flex properties as we just did above is uncommon, and we can do it much more efficiently using the flex property. Not to be confused with the display flex, the flex property allows us to set all of the flex grow, the flex shrink, and the flex basis in one go. There's two primary ways we can do this. The first being just assigning a number, very similar to how we did the flex grow property, and it works just about the same. And the other syntax is to list 3 values in the order of flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis respectively. One really cool thing we can do to make even more customizable flex layouts is use the align self property, where on one hand the align items property that we learned about earlier is applied to the flex box or the parent container and determines how the children should be aligned within the flex box. The align self property instead is applied to the child element and allows that child to override the default alignment set in the parent and be disobedient and do whatever it likes. The normal values of flex start, flex end, center, and stretch apply here, but we can also use the self start and self end values. Here's a sentence to try wrap your brain around. The self start aligns the items to be flush with the edge of the alignment container corresponding to the item's start side in the cross axis. The self end, on the other hand, does the same but for the item's end side in the cross axis. And last but not least, the order property, which is applied to a child element within a flex box and overrides the order that the item might have been placed in a flex box per its specification in the code. This is just a numeric value, and if I set the order equal to 2 on the third element, we see its order amongst the other children is updated to match. And that's your complete crash course on Flexbox. If you've enjoyed the video, smash the like and subscribe buttons, otherwise Doug is going to curse you with bad websites for 7 years. I hope you go crazy with your flex layouts and future websites that you build, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Learning to code? If so, be sure to check out the Learn to Code roadmap or dive straight in with these videos. That's a good one.